Okay, so we got our parts, we got everything disassembled. On this video, we're going to reassemble. We're going to put on the water pump, new timing belt, new alternator, and fan belt. Get the whole Geo put back together. Just went and got all the parts from O'Reilly's with my military discount. It cost $110 for the timing, alternator, and fan belt, and the water pump. Back to work on the little tracker here. Okay, so we're gonna get down in here. You can see there's a lot of dirty stuff around here. We got this little compact scraper. We're gonna go around here and clean this all up, okay? Because you don't want any pieces of the old gasket or anything in there. It'll stop the new one from sealing properly, so best to scrape this all off nice and clean. So, I can't hold my camera straight while I'm doing this. All over the place. But, yeah, we're going to scrape this off as clean as we can get it. The little discolor there, that's okay. Just want to make sure you get all the pieces of gasket and stuff off there. I thought about it, I'd have sprayed this down, cleaned it all up before I took it all off, degrease it all. So, yeah, we'll get this all cleaned up. Like, see, I got some paper towels in here to kind of soak up what was left of the antifreeze right there, so we can get a good, clean, dry bond. I'm done with this. I'll go get some more paper towels to wipe this all off and dry it. See, it goes over here and it has the timing chain or the timing belt tensioner on it. As you see, I marked my mark there with my Inksol marker, and then I marked this one so I don't have to line up the timing lines and stuff. And there's a little bit of corrosion in here. It's just normal, but I could scrape some of it out if I get the razor out, but with it together it's not a big deal. Here you can get a little corrosion in there, so I'm gonna go get a dry paper towel, wipe it all out, and then we're gonna get our gasket glue on there. Okay, so we're gonna go down here, paper towel, we're gonna scrub all this off real good, get all the gunk away from it, get all the liquid off of it, so we get the best seal possible here. And then we're gonna apply as little as possible of this Permatex. How little that little water pump gasket is, huh? Okay, make sure I got it the right direction. Make sure it looks right. Yep, everything's right. So, this is going to be the side toward the engine. I got this little Permatex for water pump and thermostat housing. And knock a little stuff out of the hole. This is an old one that I had. Okay, wipe it on the radiator there, because you don't want to get that stuff on your clothes. Permatex will permanently adhere to fabric pretty good. So we're just going to put a little tiny bit right along here, right in the center, because like say if you, whatever sloshes out goes inside your motor, you know, so when you're pressing it and there's a bunch coming on the outside, all that's going on the inside too. We're just going to put a real thin coating on there, but make sure we get it. And I go around all the holes. A lot of people just, oh, okay, the only fluid only gets on this side, but I want to seal all the way around the bolt. So thought about my cousin Kim. He's got big spray cans of Permatex, but I never even knew they had them. I told my dad, and he's like, what? So we're just gonna make sure we got a nice little thin layer on there. Brush it on there, you know. All that's for is if there's a spot on your motor or whatever that's not perfectly flush, or a spot on your water pump that's not perfectly flush, which especially nowadays with mass-produced parts is a big thing. This will help seal that little void up and make it seat up perfect, instead of having a small leak where it wasn't quite right. So we're going to push this on there, but like I say, when you press this on, you don't really want it popping out around it, because it's probably popping out that much inside. I got this sucker upside down. There's two studs on there that hold it in place. Press it against the engine there, seat it up. Yeah, we got a tiny little bit right here coming over. You can kind of wipe that out with your finger. Then we're going to do the same thing with the back of our little tiny water pump here. May just to do better, break this up and do a video on each little part. I don't know. Let's see, don't want much on here. Very liberal little coating. Just barely squeeze it as you go. Rub it around, you know. Get it around all those little bolt holes. See, there's a good bit there, so we're going to take that off and push it down this way. So you want that channel done up good. We can do that little wing off of it a little bit. Like I say, if you notice there's a little much there, rub it in. You see, a lot of people are, oh, it's just Permatex, you know, you can't do too much. But yeah, when you get a piece of that in your freaking thermostat or something, and it plugs it up, and then you overheat, yeah, you'd be like, oh man, that Permatex all up inside my motor did do a little bit of damage. I see right there, got a little spot. Look at my camera so I can make sure I'm getting everything where you can see it. Okay, here you go. Good spot. The one thing about recording all this, takes a little more time. Try to get the right angles and cover everything. Go up here, go around this guy. A lot of these holes are just threaded because they're for accessories to bolt onto the water pump, like this big guy up here. It's for the alternator bracket. Right now we're just worrying about the water pump being perfectly installed so we don't have any issues. Okay, now we'll put this cap on. Be very careful with these Permatex caps. You want them tight, but if you get them too tight, they actually will split the cap and then it all dries up. Okay, you're going to set this in here without touching anything. We're going to get that little stud on. Get that little stud on, make sure all our holes are lined up, and press her on, okay? Now we're going to get these two little nuts here for the water pump. We're going to put them on first, just finger tight. You want to get all the bolts in before you tighten anything too tight, because if you get them too tight, then sometimes if another hole's not lined up just right, you can't get it in. Okay, so got those two now. Get these guys all in here. When they're all nice and clean and everything's good, you can just walk these suckers all the way up in there with your fingers. That saves you time on ratcheting, because I put these in by hand with a ratchet instead of with my power ratchet, because the power ratchet, it's hard to tell how much torque exactly you're using. I've got a lot of grease on it. Clean that off with my fingers. Okay. You're probably going to want to torque these to about, I'd go 12 psi or foot-pounds. Don't want them too tight. Okay, now we're going to snug those babies up. Got our 10 mm on here. Yeah, we're going to do a video for each part of this, because this already taking about 10 minutes. And you're just going to get them nice and tight. Okay, especially with a lot of these being aluminum blocks. Put too much tension on an aluminum block, you're going to take the threads right out of it. Aluminum blocks aren't near as tight or as solid as a cast iron block. They're not tough. So put that in. I might have to pull that one. I don't remember. There's one, I think. No. I don't know. There's one that does something with the timing belt tensioner, so we'll get that all figured out next. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do next is take the studs out and put them in my water pump here, because my old one had the studs in it with nuts on them. So I'm going to have to get some vice grips, pull the other studs out, and then screw them into this one. Then on my next video, we're going to put on the timing belt, and then probably the alternator and AC and all that belts. So we'll just cut this video here and just do it. But yeah, like I say, I'm gonna put all these in the end. Might do like a finishing video where we wrap it up, put all this together. So I'm probably gonna find a new nut to go on this guy, because that one's all boogered up. I don't know, we'll figure it out. So stay tuned, and we'll have another video on installing the timing belt and all the rest of that. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.